Hi and welcome to another episode of the Fish Tank Diaries. Today we've got with us David Ford, owner of Bright Blue Day, one of the most successful digital agencies in Bournemouth, I think is safe to say. David, thank you so much for coming along today. I really appreciate it.
Pleasure.
Yeah. Like with everyone we've spoken to so far, everyone's got a beginning to their story. And how long has Bright Blue Day been going for now?
Whoa, that shows my age. Let's say in excess of 25 years. But my story goes back a little bit further. I mean, if I just give you the full 9 yards, as it
please
were.
do.
I grew up down here, so I had a huge passion for the whole region. Loved living down here. Went away to college in Bath and then moved to London and worked in London for 10 years. Started off in Unilever with sort of big company marketing training, which was a great basis for what I wanted to do. But absolutely loved the creative and advertising side. So very quickly moved to a number of big London agencies, worked at J. Walter Thompson, amongst others, and AMV, BBDO. And actually there, I'd always had the idea of running my own business. So when the opportunity arose to set up our own agency with, I say it's my business, it's actually, I have a co-founder, Jonathan Clark. We set up together around 25 years ago when Bournemouth was very much a sort of a bit of a barren wasteland as creative agencies go. So people thought we were slightly mad, leaving London, leaving the hub of where it was at then, to move down here pre-digital and make it all happen. And 25 years later, we've got Bright Blue Day down here. We have an agency in London called Perfect Storm, and we've just launched BBD Boom. So it's not always been easy, but it's been a very interesting, sometimes fun, sometimes challenging ride.
So what was the model of the business when you started? Because if you started at the beginning of the 90s, then it must have been much more around marketing and print and brand identity and things like that.
Absolutely. It was much more pure advertising and pure design. And I think Jonathan and I were young and enthusiastic, and we would say to clients, you know, if you want us to dress up in chicken outfits and stand outside your office and hand out flyers, if we can make money and you pay us, we'd go and do it. So we were sort of nothing.
Did you do that?
I didn't.
You didn't have to go that far.
No, fortunately, nobody actually asked us to do that. But we did some crazy things. And I think for us, an agency was about making the impossible possible, doing whatever it takes for brands to succeed.
Now, let's go back to the beginning. Now, you obviously came out of a role in a business and moved all the way down to Bournemouth and then set up your business with your partner down here. Now, how did you make that transition? Because that's the bit that scares most people. I mean, the reason for doing these videos is to talk to people who are about to make the jump or have already made the jump. Some get family and friends to support them, others get loans and finance of different types. Did you save up, or did you come down and thought, right, we'll live in a bed sit and grow it from... I mean, you obviously must have been doing quite well in London, so a huge change in your life.
I think that... it seems such a long time ago. I think money is always a driver, and we did have help from family in terms of supporting the business in the very early days, and you know, there's the usual challenges around payday coming and not having any money in the account, and how we're going to cover the salary bill. And that's something that I think every startup business, whether you're an agency or whether you are a product company, is something that's a challenge. But I think that there is something innately in you that's either entrepreneurial or isn't. And I think it's a bit like I said, the people who want to work in London or don't work in London. Some people are just comfortable working in organisations and succeeding in organisations, might be doing new things but on behalf of an organisation. And there's some people who want to, inherently in your heart, you want to create something that's yours. You want to create that dynamism. And I think the people who want to do it know who they are, and it will happen for them because you find a way to make it happen. It might be innately you're not happy in the role that you're playing in a big agency. It might be you're frustrated because you can't do it your way, but you will find a way through to allow you to express yourself, to do what you want to do in business. So I think that's very much a personality-driven thing. I'm not going to say it's a skill-driven thing necessarily, or a experience-driven thing. I think you sort of know where you sit in that mind. And I think quite often today people are going, you know, being an entrepreneur wasn't quite so glamorous 25 years ago. Most people were going, you're leaving London, you're leaving an amazing job, a very highly paid job. I had an amazing car, Alfa Romeo Spider in that time. You're giving up your amazing car to come down here, buy a beaten up old Golf and drive up and down to London 3 times a week to service clients 100 miles away against, people who've been doing this far more successfully than you for a much longer time. Why on earth would you do that? So I think there's a madness about you that drives you to do your own thing, to want to do that. And everything else, if you've got that madness, sort of falls away because you will find a way to make it happen. So actually, I sit here now and look back and go, wow, that was an amazing ride. I'm not sure at my age I'd want to do it again, but I'm glad I did it. And where we've ended up has been an amazingly lovely experience.
So the agencies are kind of being run for you now. So what do you spend your time doing?
So I split my time now between Bradbury Day and it's that agency side, and then working with and investing in small businesses and startups with a view to see how we can scale those in much more of a product sector, if you like, rather than the other side. And actually, I find it really, really inspiring. I love it because I like that entrepreneurial spirit. I love the connection you get with people who are looking to develop and grow their own business. So I think there's a sort of likeness of mind.
So you mentioned investment. Now that's going to be something that some of the people watching this will be interested in because they may have to sit in front of a group of dragons. When you're looking for somebody who is investable, what advice would you give people?
I think you have to have a huge amount of passion for what you're selling, and that passion has to be true belief. And I mean, for me, when we look at investments, we look at the team, prefer a team to a single individual to invest in. We look at the business competency. Has this person got the commercial competency to scale and take this idea? And actually, fundamentally, is the idea actually good enough? People would disagree with me. I think the right person can succeed with the wrong idea, but the right idea cannot succeed if it hasn't got the right person or team behind it. So the person or the team, and I say team, we sort of tend to like investing in, I'm saying this thinking actually most of the investments I've done haven't been in a team of people. So but traditionally people would tell you should invest in a team of people because they'll have a broader skill set and that,
But you can build a team around an individual.
You can build
and you can
do
it quite quickly as well.
Yeah.
Especially if you've got a sort of career like yours behind you, you've got people that you can draw in, almost a moment's notice. And you're saying about choosing the right person and they might have the wrong product. The product can be adapted, but it's very difficult to adapt a person. You can teach them new skills,
That's
but if
exactly what I'm
the
saying.
mentality or the psychology is wrong, then...
And I think, to be honest, being an entrepreneur, getting investment, it's become slightly fashionable at the moment. I don't know if that's a bad thing or a good thing, but it feels like it's a new career that's opened up to young people. So a few years ago, there wasn't a concept of I'm going to leave university or whatever and be an entrepreneur and get into that game and go to some things and find an idea and make it all happen. I think entrepreneurs were much more independently breaking out of the bounds of stuff that they were doing. It was a much more difficult journey. So the ones that did it were so much more, were willing to take so much more grief, hassle, hardship to make it work. Whereas actually, I think, and this is slightly contentious, but I think a lot of the Silicon Roundabout entrepreneurs, they want to get 15 million for an idea that's a little bit half-baked, and they want to start off on 100,000 a year, and in offices in
Old Street.
Yeah. And with the best one, you can sort of make that happen. And if you go out to California, they've probably got a double thirst from Stanford, and they are probably mega brilliant, and they probably work their tits off. And they are getting those sort of things. But it's a lot harder. The reality for most people is it's really hard work, and you've got to be really resilient to make it work. So accountants for me, it's looking at, how committed are people to it? What skin have they put in the game already, and what more skin are they going to put in the game to make this work? Will they do what it takes to make this business successful? Because you're putting your money, you're backing that person, if you like, to give it their all to make that successful.
David, it's been such a pleasure having you, and thank you so much for coming down. I really appreciate it, and it's lovely to see you again. And I wish you the very best with the agencies and your investments as well. And
thank you very much.
Hopefully we'll have you in again soon.
Okay, well, thank you very much indeed.
You know, do you ever have that sort of level of disagreement with your directors?
No, because they don't listen to me anymore. Maybe a couple of years ago they would have done. The younger generation, I hate to use that word because that makes me feel very old. You know, I'm not a great believer even in making up titles like, you know, Chief Pie Maker or Chief Mischief Maker or something like that. It's like, come on, it's all a bit trite, isn't it?